So taking a different tack, because this is a property seminar, I think there is an interesting opportunity for some people in the property sector, but not necessarily in residential. This is a real life scenario. So let's say you've got the opportunity to acquire a commercial property that's worth £350,000, and you have a pension fund of 250 that you're thinking, I wish I could get that out and put it into residential. I get asked that question a lot. Not easy. So the pension scheme could borrow, along with the 250,000, 50% of its scheme value, so you could go out and buy that commercial property. Let's say it rents out at £28,000 a year. £350,000 property, £30,000 a year, 8% yield. Don't think many people would want to buy a commercial property anything much less than that. If you've got a business, that rent would be offset against corporation tax. The rent is going back into the pension fund, accumulating all of the time, which could be reinvested. It could buy more commercial property, or it could be conventionally invested, or even just sit in cash. You could also be investing, if you have the income, up to £40,000 a year into that pension. Why do I think this is attractive? Well, first of all the growth in there is free of any tax. There's no capital gains tax. When you do start to pull money out, if you've been accumulating that rent, you can have 25% of it back tax-free. Sounds attractive to me. The residual money in the pot could be turned on as an income stream. So don't forget, if you're still on that property, you still get £28,000 a year rent going into it. You can be drawing it out whilst retiring, even though it's topping up at the same time. And the pension fund is not liable for inheritance tax, so this can generationally pass on to whomever. So it's not like a buy-to-let strategy, but I think buy-to-let investors should know this strategy in case an opportunity like this was to come along. I think it's very powerful. So just to put some flesh on the bone so we can see what this might look like. So let's say you buy that property for £350,000. 15 years rent, 28,000 is £420,000. And let's say you had a business, or you had the ability just to put £20,000 of your money, your own money that you've earned elsewhere, into the pension over that same period of 15 years. £300,000 has gone in. So if you look at that after 15 years, 350,000, 420,000 of rent, 300,000 of pension contributions, ignoring any kind of investment return you might get, that's no investment return whatsoever. The value is north of £1 million. So who'd like to retire with £1 million somewhere?
You're saying that's without any
No growth. I haven't put any growth into that.
What about the lifetime limit?
The lifetime limit, very interesting question. I wouldn't personally worry about it, because if I've got £1 million there, I'm going to take £250,000 and live off that until it's gone. Depending how expensive your lifestyle is. But I would rather have the problem of a lifetime allowance. For those that don't know in the building, the lifetime allowance is currently £1 million. From next April, it will be £1 million and £30,000. But it is a problem. But it's a problem I would rather have than the other problem of not having this possibility. Because let's say you're 65, you take the tax-free cash and live off that, you haven't actually created a taxable situation at that point by taking 250. So if it takes you, say, 5 years to spend that 250, you're then 70. So it's a bit morbid to think about it, but you're getting closer to the point where you're not going to be here anymore. And you can then just take slight slices of that pot of money once you've used the 250,000 and pay slices of additional tax at that point to get it out. I personally think it's an unavoidable problem, but it's quite a nice problem in many ways. I'd rather that be one of the 80%. The reality of creating wealth is none of us are going to get away scot-free without paying tax. It's just, you can't have it. The 80% are not going to let us 15%, and maybe some of the 5%, they're just not going to let us get away with it. So I'd rather pay the tax than not have that potential benefit. So to conclude, my view is that we should, however we're creating our wealth, we should look at diversifying, whether that is purely in the buy-to-let market. We're not just going to own HMOs, we're not just going to buy apartments. Hopefully those that have got a number of properties, they've got a few different strategies. So apart from Dawn at the back, who's going to marry it, I think we should just forget about the top line. But I think they're interesting, but because some people, believe me, that is what they're planning to do. They absolutely are. So what I think we should focus really on is those three at the bottom. And if we can't have all of them, at least if we could have a couple of them. If we could have a business, or we could have some property, or if we've got property, we've got a bit of stock market, we're spreading the risk. And as Sally's already alluded to this evening, there is legislation against buy-to-let. So I'm not saying buy-to-let is not a valid investment, but having a bit of diversification, I don't think can really do us any